I want to say, looking around, this is our best turnout here. So that is awesome. Glad to see it. Thank you everybody for coming. I'm Jason Baldwin, project manager with the Bergman Group. We're here to talk about the I and H tiers and what is going to happen. I have my colleague Jeff Meyer here in the back. And at this point, I will turn it over to Ken O'Neill with Safewater.
All right, thank you very much. Like Jason said, this is the best turnout so far, and we can't do the work without the cooperation of the homeowners, so thank you all very much for coming and participating. So I just want to introduce a few people. This is Mark Spencer, Larry Counts, and VP of Operations, Jeff Dorton. We have a staff of 5 people here on site every day, coordinating and making sure that everything goes as smooth as possible here at Brooks Tower. Just to give you a little update of what we've done so far, we've completed E and F units, L and M units, B and C units. We're almost done with I and J units. We'll start the F and J stack tomorrow. And F and G tomorrow, and H and I, as you know, starts on January 23rd, 2020. So we've completed over 300 units. We're required to get 5 different inspections. So there's a plumbing inspection, there's framing and fire stopping inspection, there's drywall inspection, then there's building finals and plumbing finals. So we've got inspectors out here every day. We're passing 30 to 40 inspections each and every day without issue. And again, we're in over 300 units so far. And at this point, we're replacing all the drain, waste, and vent and supply. So DWV, or the drain and waste, is what runs out of the building. All right, when you flush your toilet, when you run a faucet, and you're near your shower, that water needs to escape the building and exit and go to the street. And there's also just as much piping that's on the opposite end of the drain, which is the vent that vents up and out and through the building, okay? So that sewer system and that drain, waste, and vent system is being replaced at the same time that we're replacing the supply piping, all the copper pipe that feeds the sink, feeds the faucets, and feeds all your fixtures in your unit. So it's DWV, or drain, waste, and vent, or it's your supply or your potable water, okay? Does everyone understand that? Okay, we're not dealing with any other systems at this point, but we will be getting into the heating or the hydronic systems at the end of this year, okay? So right now we're getting ready to start the H and I units. So there's a great picture of Larry and I. So we're starting the H and I. We're going to be in the penthouse at 42C, and all the H and I units from 41 down to 3. We're not doing any of the replacement in the second and first floor of the commercial area of the building. We're just stopping at the 3rd floor. H and I are from 41 down to 4, and the way that the 3rd floor is situated, directly underneath H and I would be 3B and 3C. Okay, is anyone here on the 3rd floor? Okay, so the numbering system is slightly different, but you're directly underneath that stack of those risers of H and I. Okay, so we'll talk about stacks or risers. The water is fed from up in the penthouse, up above the penthouse, from the mechanical system down. So we'll be doing that in what we call risers or stacks. We start at 42. The piping from 42 is shared with 41, 40, 39, all the way down through 3. Okay? So we start at the pipe at the top. We carefully go in and strategically break out the piping, cut out the piping at 1 floor at a time, and replace it 1 floor at a time, and tie back into the old systems below so that you can have water at the end of every single night. Okay? So you won't have water at 8 a.m. until about 5:30 p.m. during the day, Monday through Friday. Every evening and every weekend you will have water. At the end of every day, the water is turned back on so that you can utilize your entire house. Okay? All right, so that's where we are with that. So the only way this process can work is with cooperation. So Bergman Group is the construction manager. We have the board members and Sagewater. The board members and Bergman did a lot of upfront work to try to get this kicked off and get this ball rolling. And now it's time for you all to get involved and do your part of being cooperative to make sure that we have full, complete, and uninterrupted access to your home from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. during those timelines that you have on your schedule, and that you remove your personal fragile belongings out of those zones where we'll be working, and we'll get to that a little bit more. But it can't get done without your cooperation. So we have several notifications that go out to help make sure the process runs smooth. You've got a lot of the paperwork. There's also the website. You see the website, you see all the notices and information and maps that help you step through the entire process. Please continue to get on the website and look, because those forms and maps and plans and notices get updated on a regular basis. So please make sure that you're up to date. And now today we're conducting this resident information session of this entire stack. The next few notices you get will explain as we go through. So there's the website. I know you all have it in your paperwork. It's a good idea to write that down. When in doubt, get on the website to look at most recent and updated schedules and paperwork, or email or call, get with Bergman Group or with Sage Water at any time. Okay. All right, so, sorry. All right, so we're in the information session right now, and we will be within 2 weeks, and everyone has their schedule in front of them. Approximately 2 weeks before we start your particular unit, we'll come and meet you in your unit and get more specific with the details of your particular unit, okay? So right now we're talking about generic general H&I units that have not been renovated or have been changed over the years. That's what we're talking about today in generalization. When we come to your unit 2 weeks prior to the start, we can get into your exact unit and talk about some of maybe the tile changes that you made, some of the upgrades that you've made, if fixtures or anything has been upgraded or changed. We could talk more about specifics of your particular unit on that day. Today is just general information about H&I. So just hold all your questions to the very end, and then we could talk about more about your individual units when we get into your pre-construction meeting. The next notice after the pre-construction meeting that's going to show up on your door will be what we call a work in progress notice. And that'll go up on your door no less than 48 hours in advance, and that will step you through the entire process, okay? There's several steps that we can go through. We're going to put the notice on your door. There'll be several, at least 30 business days from start to finish to complete this pair of units that are back to back. So if you look on the map, this is the generic version of an H&I unit. Yours may vary slightly if you've done any renovations, but in general, this is how they are. So the riser of the stack of piping is in between the two bathrooms, okay? And we'll be removing the drywall from the entire wall in the I bathroom and the I bathroom vanity, okay? So, step through to the next one. All right, so on day one, we'll go in and run plastic and drop cloths through your entire unit. We cover all the hard surfaces with ram board or a cardboard surface to keep it protected. We cover all the other areas with plastic. We drape walls of plastic, and we go in and start deconstructing, carefully removing all the toilets, vanities, fixtures, lights, everything that's in that I bathroom, so that we can then access and expose the drywall. The following day, Hudspeth, our abatement contractor, comes into the unit and sets up containments, okay? They're a fully licensed, bonded, and insured abatement contractor through the state, and they'll come in, set up containments, and have air scrubbers and equipment and tools to make sure that they protect the entire home. A third-party hygienist will come out during the day to take air samples and tests, and once the drywall is completely removed from the wall and everything is completely cleaned up, they'll do air testing and let you know that it's okay for occupancy for you to come back in at the end of the day, okay? So during any aspect of construction, you can be in the unit, and every night you'll have water on. The one day you can't be in the unit is from 8 to 5:30 on the second day, which is the day of the abatement, for those particular reasons. When you come home that day, there'll be the in-progress notice that will step you through everything that happens, and there'll be a stop sign on your door letting you know that work is in progress for the abatement. Once we get the third-party hygienist to clear and everything's cleaned out of the unit, they test, they make sure that it's clear. The sign gets flipped over, it says green, it's go. That's around 5 or 5:30 every day. That means you're allowed to occupy your unit that day when you come home from work, okay? So if you have pets, they also have to be removed from the home for that day, okay? So through the entire process, you can be home A little dusty, a little dirty, a little inconvenient, but you can live there. The only day that you have to be out of the unit, all pets, everyone has to be out of the unit, is on the second day where we're doing the abatement. And everyone has that list of schedule of the exact dates, okay? Like we said, we've been through 300 units. Very rarely has the schedule changed or been moved or changed. We're on a really good roll. We're already through 4 stacks of very similar style units. But now we're going into some uncharted territory, some newer style units where we don't know exactly what's happening yet. We're getting ready to start the F&G units. We're going to learn a lot on the F&G units. And again, the website will be updated where what we did learn, what the inspector is asking us, what's required, what may need to be moved or changed. The map may vary slightly depending on how we access the piping. So we're basing how we're accessing the plumbing based on drawings done by an engineer and based on a 50-year-old building. So there's a lot of unknowns, okay? So with that said, we don't go where we want to go to access the pipe. We go where the pipe allows us to access the pipe, okay? So the pipe determines where we can cut. So I'd love to be able to access the plumbing without having to pull all those fixtures in your bathroom. If there was a way to do that, we would. But unfortunately, I need to expose all of that pipe in order to replace it. So we're going to do everything we can to limit the amount of cuts, limit the amount of deconstruction or demo in your unit. It's better for us and better for everybody to limit the scope and limit the amount of deconstruction. But with that said, it's a major undertaking, it's a huge undertaking, and there's a lot of pipe in those walls, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of coordination to get this done. So please be patient with us and be prepared. So day 3 or 4, we come in and start doing the plumbing aspect, okay? Plumbing is about 4 or 5 days. There's a lot, once you see what it looks like inside those walls, it's pretty overwhelming. It's a lot of pipe in there, there's a lot going on. That all has to be carefully removed, both systems, the DWV, drain waste event, and the potable supply, in that unit for that day, or sometimes 2 units a day. And again, they're back-to-back baths. There's a lot going on there, all in an 8-hour day. Okay, so that's why it's important that we have complete and uninterrupted access to your unit from 8 to 5:30. Okay, so if we knock on the door at 8 and you're asking us for 20 more minutes so you can take a shower, that means we're going to be there until 6 o'clock. And that also means that we're probably going to delay other people below you. Okay, so it's critical that you cooperate, you're on time, you allow complete and uninterrupted access, and you prepare to move everything that's needed to be moved in the red, yellow, and zones, so that we can prepare. Can you move back to the map for a second for me, brother? So with that said, all the piping is shared from top to bottom. Every unit's water is shared throughout that entire stack or riser. So there's no skipping a unit. There's no, you can't come into my unit today. So if Ms. McGillicuddy wakes up with a hangover tomorrow and says we can't come in, it's not possible. We have to come in because the people above you can't get water. The people below you can't get drainage or sewage. So it has to happen. So please pay attention to the schedule. Be prepared. Let us access early and easily to get in and give us uninterrupted access so that we can complete the entire process in a fashion. I kind of skipped over the map here. We divided the map up into 3 different zones, okay, actually 4. So yellow zones are basically areas where we enter, we walk, and we may store some small equipment, tools. You've seen the guys pushing carts around the building. That all gets in those stored areas. The red zones is where most of the major construction or working gets done, the bathrooms and kitchens, okay? The hashed red marks with the red with the black dots there, that's only for the one day where the abatement crew is in there and they need to exhaust air out of the building, which will go out through those through your patio doors. So we'll need a path to those doors. All other days that path will be clear, and these other red and yellow zones will be working in. Okay. So now we go back to the schedule. So we're talking about 4 to 5 days worth of plumbing. Okay. Then we have to have the inspector come back out and look at our plumbing system. Okay, he looks at how it's routed, how it's run, and Larry's our journeyman plumber on site. He manages our 16 plumbers that we have on site to make sure that everything runs smoothly. We do everything to code, everything's run properly, everything has proper drain, and all the supply piping sizes are all to the plan and to code. The inspector comes in and does his thorough inspection, and he gives us the green light to take the next step. Okay. The next step comes a day or 2 later where our drywall guys come in and they do some framing, remove some old screws, do some framing. And we also now have to seal every penetration from floor to floor, from unit to unit, okay? You've got a very old building. And back in the day, the codes were very different. So right now, you have most of your penetrations through your floor, at the floor or at the ceiling, are wide open with a pipe run through it. So there's no fire stopping or no protection from unit to unit, top or bottom, or front to back. So we're required to now do that. So we're going to insulate those pipes, and we're going to seal every single penetration in the floor, every single penetration in the ceiling, and every penetration from unit to unit to better protect you against smoke and fire in the future, okay? So that's a major process that has to be taken, and the inspector will then come and look at that system, do his inspection, and then say to us, okay, now you can move to the next step, okay? So you see we're working for 42, we're in 41, we're in 40, you know, we're abating in 39, and we're getting, you know, we're plumbing at 30, you know, I'm sorry, we're starting at, we're plumbing, and as everything goes, so say we're down halfway into the process and we're doing our deconstruction, then abatement, 3 or 4 days of plumbing, then we're getting our plumbing inspections, then we're insulating and fire stopping, and then we're doing some framing, and each step of the way, it's a coordinated effort, non-stop, 8 to 5:30, every single day for 30 complete business days in order to turn around and complete that unit that we started in 42 tomorrow, okay? So 30 business days from now, we'll just be finishing 42C's unit, okay? So there's a lot going on there. All right, so once we get our framing inspection and fire stopping inspection, he says, great, start closing at the drywall. We'll put some drywall pieces back into place. He'll come and see that we're overlapping the drywall. We're securing the drywall a certain way, a certain pattern. The building inspector comes back and he inspects that. We can't close or put anything up until each step of inspections come. We don't have any control of the inspector's time. They all work for the city. We call inspections every day. Like I said, we're passing 30 to 40 inspections each day. We've only missed a handful of days, but again, we don't have control over the inspectors and when and if they come. So if there's a delay with that, that's on the city, but we've been getting the units done 4 or 5 days short of the goal almost consistently all the time. So the 30-day goal, we've been beating it by 4 or 5 days almost on every single unit, okay? So then the drywall's up, then we start, the drywall inspection passes, then we start mudding. The mudding and texturing and paint process is about 5 or 6 or 7 days depending on the style of unit you have. These drywall guys work their magic with matching any type of texture and coordinating and matching paints, but nothing is absolutely perfect, okay? This is renovation work, it's not construction, okay? Drywall is simply an illusion. You put up a patch wall, you float a wall out as smooth as you can, and all you're simply doing is adding thickness to the wall and blending it further into the wall. So nothing is absolutely perfect. The texture on the wall is going to be really good, it's not going to be perfect. The paint match is going to be really, really close. It gets computer matched by Sherwin-Williams. It's going to look great, but it's not an absolute perfect science. Okay, so just keep that in mind. For the most part, when we're in a ceiling, we want to paint the entire ceiling. When we're in a wall, we paint the entire wall. So if you look in a corner of any room at a painted wall, the one wall looks slightly darker than the other. So we're cutting into the wall, cutting into the floor, cutting into the ceiling. We'll paint full planes, but we're not painting entire rooms. Okay, we're painting the planes in the areas that we're affected, that we're cutting to get into. So with that said, then the next process is tile. So we talked about the pre-construction meeting that happens about 2 weeks before we get into the unit. Today's probably the day you should talk to your contractor or talk about who did your tile or who did any renovation, or start visiting Home Depot or Dell Tile and start thinking about what type of tile you have, what size is it, and what color grout you want to put on your wall, okay? So at the pre-construction meeting, we're going to expect that you have a tile choice and a grout choice so that we can then run to the manufacturer and order and buy, get that stuff shipped. So by the time we get through the process and get to the tile aspect, that tile is sitting in your unit or down in our shop ready to be installed. See, that's another process where we're talking about cooperation. Is if we're not picking and buying that tile at the pre-construction time, there's no way it can go on that wall and get completed and done within the 30-day time frame. So it's critical that we pick those tiles and start thinking about that now and have it ready at the pre-construction meeting so we can put that up. So a little bit, we talked about paint never matching exactly, texture being good but not absolutely perfect. Tile is very much the same way, okay? The tile on the wall could be 50 years old. So if you have the golden granite original tile that's here, we have a really close match that we will use, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you have an upgraded tile, something different than the golden granite, the speckled tile that's on the bathrooms now, we need to know what you have. So you're going to go to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer's no longer going to be in business, or the model number is going to be outdated, and it's just not made anymore. So that's when you have to make another decision. What am I going to do? Am I going to get something close enough, or I just do completely something different and just do an accent wall or an accent tile of a completely different color? So you know, if you walk into a unit where you got a close enough match, it won't draw attention to your eye, you won't even know it. But if you swing and miss and it just doesn't look good, that looks worse than if you just said, what the heck, let's just get a completely different tile, and let's do an accent wall and not try to make it look close, okay? So it's either a good hit or it's not. So this is the original tile that you all have here. So this grout line here is actually a faux grout line. It's not 4 separate tiles. It's one 4 1/4 inch tile, and it's divided into 4 2 1/8 inch pieces. This tile is not manufactured anymore, not done anymore. The exact same manufacturer with a really close match does the same size, 4 1/4, with the same speckle, but no faux grout line. So that's what you're going to get in your shower wall and on your half wall up the walls around the rest of the room to match the other 2 walls that won't be touched, okay? So if you go back to the map real quick, let me just kind of show that. So if we're going to tile, we're going to remove, and this is a little off because it's not showing the bump out. So we're going to remove this wall, okay? This wall and this wall are going to stay intact, all right? So this wall has the golden granite, this has the golden granite, this will have the new 4 1/4 golden granite. It's not going to match exactly, but it's going to look really close, it's going to look really good, and we're going to completely retile that after we drywall. Okay, so if you have a custom tile, we're going to need to know the manufacturer's name, number, sizes, and what color grout that you want. So we're going to put it in there, and it's going to look really close with your choice of tile. After the tile and grout is completely installed, then those same people who did the decon come in and do the recon. Okay, so we're going to bag and tag and mark every screw, every light bulb, every switch, and everything that we remove off your walls and store them in your unit somewhere. So at your pre-construction meeting, we talk about the deconstruction. Where do you want to put that stuff? A lot of people put it in the dining room. A lot of people take part of their living room. Some people have a spot in the bedroom that they want to put it in. But we're going to have to sit a toilet, a vanity, a light, a mirror, several items, lean against the wall behind the couch, some in the dining room, somewhere in your room where we can stage and store some of that stuff for that 30-day time frame. All right, tile is completed, grout is wiped down, it looks good. The same guys who did the deconstruction come in and do the reconstruction, okay? Everything's bagged and marked and tagged. They come back and start reinstalling everything. Set the vanity, set the toilet, install the glass shower door or surround, whatever is there, hang the mirror, hang the light, put the light switches on, hang a TV if necessary, whatever happens to be in that bedroom and those walls, and start putting everything back together. Then there's the plumbing trim out. The plumbers will hook up the toilet, hook up the sink, inspect and check everything that everything's in working order. Then we do an internal walk, and then we contact you and let you know we're ready for what's called a substantial completion, okay? So every day you come home, again, that in progress report is going to be on your door. And it'll say, hey, they demoed today. Hey, we got the hygienist passed and I can go in here today. We passed, we did our plumbing, we passed our inspection. Everything is stepped through to the completion. The last check will be asking you to please contact us, and we'll contact you before you contact us, more than likely, is that we are either done or substantially done within the next 24 hours, okay? So that's when you contact us, we do a walk with you. Bergman Group has a representative, Sagewater has a representative. We walk your unit, and that's your opportunity to say to us, you know, there's a nick or a ding here, or that light's a little crooked, and if the light is crooked, that means Mark's not doing his job. So he's the guy who usually does most of the punch at the end of the process. So there shouldn't be much to discover or much to find as far as punch out is concerned or issues, but whatever issue you have, we note down. There's a slight ding in the door, or the light's a little crooked, or you left a little piece of tape in the corner there. We write those down, we get the crew in there, we touch up, we finish, we do what we gotta do. We schedule a final inspection. Then you see that we completed those 2 or 3 items on your substantial list, sign your final completion, we move the in progress notice off the door, we lock your door, shut off the lights, we don't enter your unit again, unless of course you invite us in for any other work in the future or until we start the next phase of the process, okay?
I think it's much important to mention the 30 days.
Yes. So the process is 35 days, not the 25. 30 days. 30 business days. Okay, so yeah, the sketch up here is, the presentation is a little generic. The last process had 25 business days. This is literally 30 business days, not 30 days in a row, 30 business days, okay? So this is kind of what the repipe looks here on site. I'm sure you guys have seen some of our build outs and construction areas down below. That is our plumbing cage. That's our drywall cage. We've got some set up in the hallways here. We cover all the floors with plastic. Those are our carts for work. There's some pipe racks down in our plumbing area. That's our journeyman plumber right there laying plastic. So look at these pictures carefully. You know, you've probably never seen a plumber run a vacuum or get on his hands and knees and lay some plastic. The scene from E.T. at the end where the entire place is covered with plastic, that's pretty much what it looks like during the plumbing process. Now, if a tile guy's going in there, he's going to run drop cloths from the front door through the entire unit to walk to the master bath. He's not going to drape walls of plastic. During deconstruction, there's not going to be much plastic in the living and common areas, but there will be in the bath where they're working. But during the plumbing process, from the front door all the way to the bathroom, there's plastic on every floor, draped from ceiling to floor, and we vacuum and clean and dust at the end of every day, okay? With that said, you know, the building is living and breathing. Your air is turning on and off. You see the plastic moving, dust is going to get around. There's going to be a minimal amount of dust that's going to be in the unit from doing the work, but we're doing everything we can to protect all your personal and valuables in your home, but there is going to still be some residual dust, and it is definitely a dirty, dusty process. So here's what one of the holes would look like at the end of the day when you come home. On that left wall right there, that is the back of the I&J unit where we access the closet to get to the kitchen behind. So there's 3 layers of drywall there. The abatement crew cut through all those 3 layers. They got their hygienist clearance. They did their air testing. At the end of the day, that wall is taped up just like that. Okay, so wherever we're cutting will be taped up. Here you got the asbestos going on. They've got air scrubbers that are exhausting air out, cleaning air with HEPA filters. So make sure that when you come home that day, the hygienist gets a clearance and you can go into your unit without process. We've never had one issue with someone not being able to access the unit the same exact day that we did abatement, not any at all. And again, we've been through 300 units. This is a little bit of the plumbing going on. If you look carefully to the back here, that black stuff is your cast iron or your drain, your DWV stuff. You see the condition it's in, that's why we're replacing it. Right now, we've had probably 5 or 6 different stoppages of floods in units below because the inside of this pipe is literally deteriorating and crumbling and falling on the inside, okay? Some of it is even split through 5, 6, 7, 8 floors. The pipe just simply splits in half and is wide open for 10 to 12 floors that we've been repiping, okay? In the center picture, you got some of the copper pipe that we're pulling out of the building. See how green it is? It's the copper is falling apart from both sides. From the outside, from electrolysis and from touching other metals, and from the inside, from the wear and tear. So essentially it's deteriorating from both aspects. And we've had a few leaks, thank goodness not many, in the copper pipe in other units while we've been working here. The piping here on the right is the brand new copper system after it's been installed, okay? All right, here's the end of the day, picking up plastic. Again, that's our journeyman plumber on his hands and knees, vacuuming, cleaning, dusting as we go. That's ram board. It's kind of like shirt cardboard, comes in rolls. So if you have any hard surface in your unit, tile or hardwood, we roll that out on day 1, and that stays there throughout the entire process, okay? So once the process is done, then we peel back that cardboard, okay? So your first thought is, 16 guys in my unit for 30 days. You're worried about protecting your stuff. The plastic, we protect, we put the cardboard down, we do everything we can to keep your unit free and clear of any kind of damages. With that said, we do a very detailed inspection before the work starts. So we probably take 100 pictures of every single unit, document every nick and ding, every dent in the floor, every problem with a faucet or a fixture, or any problems that you have. So, with that said, there are some existing issues or existing problems that are occurring and that we're coming across as we go, okay? You've got a very, very bad plumbing system that's deteriorating. The copper is falling apart and clogging aerators, clogging faucets, okay? So when we come into a unit, if the toilet is running on and the faucet is in the shower is dripping, when we're done, that toilet will still be running on and that tub shower faucet will probably still be dripping into your tub, okay? So when we come across those items, we call the maintenance staff to come up and make some of those repairs. And you could either hire your own contractor to make those repairs or the maintenance staff to do those repairs. But those repairs have to be made at that time, but they're not part of what we're doing. We're replacing all the piping system to feed. We're replacing all the stops under on the sink and behind each other toilet and the supplies to the fixture. But the fixtures themselves are not being replaced at this time, okay? And we've had people talk about, hey, my fixture's only 1 year old. How could it possibly be dripping at this point? When you have 50-year-old pipe with the amount of sludge and debris and stuff that's in that pipe that we've seen, a 1-year-old fixture could look like a 50-year-old fixture real quick, okay? The toilets are being replaced ahead of schedule by the property. So a few days before we start the process, that's being done coordinated with Brooks Towers. They'll come in and switch out any toilet that is less than 1.6 gallons per flush. They'll switch those out. Anything above 1.6, I'm sorry. So 1.6 is fine. Anything above, the property is replacing that. They're doing that so they can some efficiency, and the state gives them back some money for going ahead and upgrading those fixtures to low flow toilets, okay? So they'll be replacing those ahead of us, and we'll be resetting those toilets as we go. But again, the fixtures don't get repaired or replaced at that time. That's up to you or up to the property to do that. We have been running across a few code issues and code problems, right? So your construction manager, Jason, wants to talk a little bit about that. So let me just tell you a few things that we kind of run across is if someone's upgraded or moved a fixture to a new location, if those are not permitted through the city, then that could be an issue. The other issue we're having now is some drywall, some of electrical work has been altered or changed by owners or past owners that may or may not, you may or not have done that, but once we open up the wall and see that there's improper electrical work or plumbing work done in that wall, we're required to bring it up to code.
You gonna take that one, son?
All right, can you go back to the map for me, please? So I'm probably gonna take a moment to talk about a few things here. So obviously when they're demoing out these walls, when an inspector comes in, if he sees something that's out of code for electrical, he's gonna flag it and say it has to be repaired. All right, well, this is not in Sagewater's scope to repair. So what we have done is Mike will be coming with us, and if there is an issue there, he will look at it, determine, yes, it needs to be fixed, or if he can fix it himself, and then if he cannot make the fix, he will call an electrician to come out and make the repair. However, you as the homeowner will be responsible for that cost of the repair. Secondly, while we're here, we've actually had some people that didn't know what was going on. Not real sure how, but they did, and they did not remove all their personal belongings. Well, I'm here to tell you, Sagewater will remove them for a low price. So, make sure you do have everything removed. If you have tenants, make sure your tenants know to have everything removed. The toilets are on display back there. If you haven't picked yours out yet, feel free to give them a little test run there and pick one out. Is there anything I'm missing? That's it.
All right, so just to touch base about things, if something's leaking or if there's an electrical issue. If there's an electrical issue, it's a life safety issue. So if I find an electrical problem or we find an electrical problem, it has to be fixed today. We're required by code to fix it today. So it has to be done. So when you get that phone call about something like that, you can't hesitate or miss. And again, you could get skipped over and the train could pass you by when we're doing that 30-day process getting to the next person. So it's really critical that if there's an electrical issue, it gets fixed right away. If there's a plumbing issue and there's a leak and it's addressed today, and 4 days from now we close up the drywall, you can't fix that leak anymore. It's gone. Your window of opportunity just passed by, okay? So it's really important that if you get that call, we act quickly, fix leaks, and fix electrical problems right away, okay? So here's just a sample of the inspection card. We're required to fill out inspection cards daily, and they step through all 5 inspections for every single unit, and we track and keep all of those on file. So 1 year from now, 10 years from now, every inspection and every permit that has ever been pulled in every single unit is going to be on file in Brooks Tower. All right, so here's a little bit of what we're talking about about framing, okay? We'll be putting in some new framing studs where necessary, hanging the drywall and Pedro's starting to finish it right there. That's some picture of drywall in process, maybe 2 or 3 coats at a time. And then the next picture is he's starting to do some finishing touches. And this picture up here is a little blurry. That was down here. There's 4 layers of drywall in some instances and 3 in others. So that 3 layers of drywall on your plumbing wall and on your neighbor's plumbing wall protect you from any fire, any issue, or anything from one unit to another. So that's required by code. So we're required to do that. All right, so now a little bit of finishing touches, touching up. Texture has been sprayed on this wall. You can see some of that orange peel there. That texture that you all have on your walls now is called orange peel. Essentially really feels like the outside of an orange. Some people have upgraded with stipple textures, knockdown, skip trowel, several different types of textures. Our guys will do everything in their power to match it, and for the most part, you'll be shocked about how good they can get it to match. But again, it's not absolutely perfect. They'll come in and paint with a very close match color, match sheen, that kind of thing to get it really, really close. And again, the entire wall gets painted. So if it's off by a little bit, you won't be able to tell. This was a really, really close tile match, okay? Very close in color, very close inside where all the grout lines match, and it looks really good. Is it perfect? Absolutely not, okay? So now if you can't get something that close, then that's when you start thinking about, hey, why don't I just do that wall in something different? Different color, just do an accent tile, something completely different. All right, so this is, again, every day someone's holding a camera, someone's taking pictures of every step of the process, every step of the way. We're looking at the texture on this wall right here. Obviously, someone has a TV hung on that wall. Once that wall has been inspected and we do an internal punch, we'll start getting our reconstruction guys in there to hang a TV. We're doing a final inspection. That's Larry right there in his younger days. All right, so I know it's a lot to take in, and I know I talk pretty fast. So if we can keep questions to just generalizations about H&I units and not details about your one particular upgrade or style unit, that will happen 2 weeks prior to start. General H&I questions.
So I did think of another thing. We'll get to the questions in just a sec. So we have had instances where people have hung notices on doors. Most of the time it's a tenant that didn't know. It says, Sagewater, you can't come in till 11. I do want everybody to be aware, if you do stop them, there is a delay fee that comes with that. If it holds them up all day, it will be about $3,200. So we want to make sure that they do get that access into the unit, and make sure if you have tenants that they do know that.
That's a great point Jason just made, and that's always the excuse for the tenant, is that the owner never told me. But either way, the delays are definitely real and they're definitely there. And I'll just give you a few examples of some things that have happened where we were aware that someone had a shower divert a leak. I'm going to get my own plumber to do it. I don't want you guys to do it. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, we drywall, we paint, we finish, we're done. And now the owner is very angry that he didn't get the opportunity to fix his fixture. Okay, so he missed the boat. We've had some people who don't pick their tile, and at the bottom of the 9th inning, they're concerned about what their tile's going to look like, and we're already 20 stories below them, and now they've completely missed the boat. Our tile guys are 10 stories behind them, and now they're wondering, when are you going to come in and do my tile? When are you going to come in and do my tile? When are you going to come in and do my tile? It's not fair to the people below you who cleaned out, got complete access, put everything away, pick their tile, that I should stop their work and possibly make their work go beyond the 30 days to come up and do your work where you didn't cooperate or get in on time. So does everyone understand that once the tile guys pass you and go down, it's very hard for us to get people to come back and do stuff that was missed along the way, okay? So we can open up for questions, go ahead.
So the whole stack takes 30 working days.
Okay, thank you for asking that question. That's something I blew. No, 30 days per back-to-back 2 units of H&I. The entire process, what did we say was 30
days.
30 days each unit, but the entire stack will be complete within 90 business days. Okay, so for 90 business days, the H&I water will turn off at 8 a.m. and back on at 5:30 p.m. And when your unit is done in 30 days, like 42 and 41 and 40 are done 30 days, business days from now, their water's still going off, even though their unit is complete, because there's the inherent problem with this building and with a lot of older buildings there's no isolation valves. There's no way to section off or isolate just your unit when there's a problem or an issue, or the water's gonna skip from 41 and feed to 40 in the units below, so that doesn't happen. So the problem is, the water goes from, the hot water and the cold water are fed to the roof, and they feed down, and the only way to stop it is to shut it off out top, bleed it from the bottom, and have that entire stack off for 90 business days from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Now, we've been really lucky, we've been getting done much earlier than that, but that's the scheduled work. But for the most part, abatement's been getting done around 4, we've been turning water on around 4 as well. But when we start this stack, there's a great big learning curve. We'll probably be working till 5:30 every day for the first week or two, and eventually we figure the whole system out, how things go, and it'll eventually get better, and it'll be before 5:30. But you'll have water every evening, you'll have water every weekend, but for that full 90 days, for that H&I stack, water will be off every day, okay? But your unit gets complete within 30 business days, and as we complete them, the water at the top is still off, okay? Yes, Marla?
In the H units, how long, okay, 2 questions. What exactly are you deconning or demolishing in the H units?
Okay, so that's a great question. So, yeah, so the like I said, we didn't decide to go into I to pull the bathroom to anger the I people. And the H people get lucky that they don't get as much demo. We're gonna go where the pipe allows us to access it and to get in there with the least amount of deconstruction, the least amount of abatement possible. We're not deciding that, the pipe is telling us to do that. So yes, the H people get less decon, but we're going to, what are we deconning?
Well, let's explain it this way. Right now, we're not quite certain. We know the wet wall is between the 2 bathrooms. And until we actually do some work in the exact mirror image of this, which is F&G, we won't have an idea of what goes on with that pipe. But it could be completely different. We just know that the pipe itself, if you're looking back there and you look at this black line, this is your wet wall. So right now, we've had the opportunity on the F&G tier to actually look at someone that has their bathroom opened up for us. And we can see all that pipe and we can see what's going on. Judging from that, we're not gonna affect the the F side.
Yeah.
We're gonna affect the G side,
Right.
okay?
And the
But
F
for
and
the
G.
H and the I, we can take an educated guess that we would probably do the same thing and open up this wall here, as Ken said earlier, but this vanity may be affected. What it means is H may be less affected, but we can't guarantee that till we actually open up, 42 and 41 and say, aha, it changed a little bit, because the plans are what we decide our work on, but when we open it up, it may not be that. That's why Ken was expressing, we'll go where the pipe takes us.
Exactly, and when we first started, we started in the E stack, and we dissected the building so that we can go around the building systematically to disrupt you as much as humanly possible. And part of the plan was to do like units. So we started in E and F, and we jumped through all the inspection hoops and figured out what was what, and we worked until 5:30, and then our cuts got smaller, and hey, we don't have to move that, and hey, we don't have to decon that. And by the time we got down the middle of the E and F stacks, the water's going back on at 4 o'clock, the inspector loves us, and it's a lot better. So then we went to the other 4 corners of the building with the exact same plan. So we haven't started F and G yet. So when we get into F and G, like I said, the updates are gonna change and things are gonna happen, and maybe we decon that vanity in H, which I hope we don't have to do, but we're gonna learn on the first 10 or 12 F and G units that are mirror images of the H and I. By the time we get to the H and I units, we're gonna have a really well-oiled system, and we'll be out of there 4:30, and the inspections will be flying through. So we're gonna learn a lot starting tomorrow and for the next 2 weeks, and then you guys will all benefit from what we've learned for the H and I. So with that said, I bath is being completely deconned, unfortunately. The H bathroom, it's a red zone. All personal belongings, fragiles, breakables, anything has to be removed, okay? But we're not gonna decon too much of anything. But we are gonna come in there, we'll get to your tub shower diverter from the backside, but we'll be in the front, removing the chrome plate, the handle, the shower head, that kind of stuff. We'll be pulling the toilet. We'll be running the supply from the backside into your unit and then hooking up the stop or the valve below and the braided supply to that toilet. We'll be underneath that vanity, replacing the P-trap, adding the stops, adding the supplies, and we'll be in and out of that unit a lot, but half as much as we are in the H side. And the same with the H kitchen. There's a lot of variables here. The pipe is offset from the bathroom. The bathroom and the kitchen are slightly offset right here. So can we get the whole thing from here? We're hoping, we're wishing, we see it, we think we can do it, and we're looking to try to get this without having to pull that vanity as well. So right now, H doesn't get much decon, but that could change. Okay, did I answer all your questions, Molly?
Just one more question, Ken. In regard to an H unit, I should have my resident take everything out of the bathroom, the vanity, and the kitchen. Is that correct?
Yes, and any fragiles or breakables hanging on the walls in the yellow zone. Now, the yellow zone is a general. Obviously, we're not going to walk in the unit exactly like that. If you have something against that wall, we can walk around it. You don't have to move anything off that wall. But if you've got a china cabinet, if you've got glass, if you've got pictures on the wall, that yellow zone, everything needs to be moved out of there to prevent anything from breaking. Yes.
So 2 questions. So do the H units need to be prepared to get tiles for those bathrooms, or should we just hold off right now?
Nobody in the H unit at this point will have to pick tile or have any tile be removed.
Okay.
It's all being done from the I side.
And then also the H units are smaller. If they wanted to,
No.
because there's not that much room in those H units, if they wanted to move, like say the vanity, which is kind of big, into another unit, is that something you guys can do, or is that up to?
Yeah, so the H unit, we're hoping we won't have to move that vanity. But we talked about it a little earlier at the pre-construction meeting, and again, each of you will have your own individual meeting with us to discuss this, is that vanity, that toilet, and all the parts and pictures and mirror and light fixtures need to go somewhere. So if it's gonna go in this area here up front, if it's gonna go against the wall, where would you like it to be stored for that 30-day period? We'll figure that out then. So right now, an H vanity won't have to be moved, so you don't have to worry about that. But we don't typically store anything out of the unit or into anybody else's unit. Okay, all stays in the unit. Yes, sir.
When you say removing everything from the kitchen, do you mean dishes, everything?
That's a great question. He's asking what to move out of the kitchen. So the kitchen is a red zone. So everything on the flat surfaces has to go away. If you have cabinets that are open at the top, they have to go away. Top of the refrigerator will probably be pulled in and out. In a closed cabinet, you don't have to move anything other than under the sink. So when you open up the sink, double doors, that area has to be completely out. The dishwasher should be empty, and everything in the flat surfaces should be removed. Anything in the cabinets can stay there. Although, I am gonna be in this plumbing wall between iBath and yours. If I had fragiles, crystal glasses, I would take that stuff out, box it up, put it in rubbermaid bins, put it away in one of the green zones, okay? Yes?
When talking then about a BC unit relative to an HI, is B like H and C like I?
That's J.
No.
No, yeah.
So like 3B, you can't tell me anything about.
Oh, she's talking about the bottom.
Oh, B, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're in the 3rd floor.
I'm in 3B, yeah.
Yes.
So is the B like by like the H?
Third floor.
No, I have the one.
Third
Yes.
floor,
You've been in
third
there.
floor is UD.
I, J, 3, C, and C. Okay, two things is, so far, the 4 riser stacks that we've done, 2 of them were over common areas, 1 of them was over 3rd floor units, and it's completely different. 3 units under 2, very odd. We're in I and J right now, and C and D are below them, and they're very, very similar to the units above. So the 3rd floor units underneath F and G and under H and I are still a little bit of a mystery, but we can get back to you on that. Okay? Yes, sir.
With code enforcement, I was just noticing, I'm an I unit, and so I've got an electrical outlet that I think is original to the building, but I have no GFCI circuit breakers or anything like that. Do we need to worry about that for the electrical sign off? And also, I know we, of course, have to get new toilets that are, modern since the EPA mandated. but do we need to worry about shower heads being old high flow shower heads or anything like that? Should we change those out before you guys get there?
All right, so the question is electrical upgrades or plumbing upgrades at this time. We have not run across that at all, okay? So some people have GFIs, some people don't. Some have, what are those other ones called that are really DCFIs or something? They're fragile. But yeah, a low flow shower head, any upgrades or any kind of stuff like that, that's completely on you. The only thing the inspector is looking at is what's inside the wall and the toilets because they decided to upgrade those. And I don't think we've had any other question about any other electrical stuff. Some of the electrical stuff that we have seen in the past is some people have run cable instead of conduit and have plastic boxes. Or when you do renovation work, you use those new construction boxes that are actually hanging on the drywall. So when you remove the drywall, what happens to all the electrical boxes and switches? They fall to the floor. So now the electrician has to come in and hardwire those in place before we do the drywall. So those are the kind of things that we've seen. Yes?
Is everybody's toilet getting replaced, or how would I know if mine is supposed to be?
No, so if you have a 1.6 or below flusher,
And I
then
would
it
know that
stays.
from.
So sometimes it's written, if you flip the tank lid over, it's written under there, or right to the back side where the tank meets the bowl, it could be stamped right there.
And it's
If you need help, you can call myself
Or
or Jeff.
didn't the management office go through and take a
Survey.
survey and look at everyone's toilet?
They did, but there have been a few that have been
Right.
missed. So, I mean, if you want us to come take a look, we can come look and let you know for sure.
And remember, a full 2 weeks before we start, we're gonna sit down with you personally and walk your entire unit. Yes, you had a follow-up, somebody else had a hand.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the I units, when they take out the vanity every day, they take it out and move it and put it back so it can be used?
That's a great question.
Because
So,
if it's all attached,
yes, you have to go to 7-Eleven for 30 days. No,
yeah.
actually, that is a great question. So, you've got your kitchen sink, so more likely your bathroom sink won't be put in place. But your toilet gets reset and your bathroom gets sealed off with plastic so that it's functional and usable. Is it convenient? No. But you can use your bathroom, toilet, you can use your shower, and you've got your kitchen sink as another means of a sink.
Whatever we do, you're always gonna be able to take a shower, use the toilet, and use the sink every day.
But you can,
At the end of everything.
in the bathroom.
Well,
No,
no.
Randy may be pulled out completely.
You will always have a sink, a toilet, and a place to shower.
Okay, just one more question then, because if there has been remodeling, because I know this is just the basic. So there's remodeling, there's a 6-foot long or wide vanity, double sinks and everything in an I bathroom now. I units are really small, so I'm trying to figure out where
That's
would
something
they,
he would cover when they come in individually,
Oh,
because they can then see it and see, because you're trying to reference something that they wouldn't be able to
Visual.
cognitively visualize.
Right.
okay.
There's an option to store it on the vanity, on the balcony, we can wrap it up, in plastic, that is an option,
So far, we've,
if
like,
space is that big of a concern.
I think we've used a balcony once in the 300 units that we've done, and we've never stored anything
But when
outside
they
of the
meet
unit.
with you,
But again, when we meet with you individually, that double vanity will address that at the time. But yes, we'll store it in your unit somewhere, somehow, make it work.
he had a follow-up back here.
Just actually, for those of us, because there's a lot of studios here involved, of course, some of us don't actually live here full-time anymore. Is there any way to help you with the schedule by saying, you don't have to reset that toilet every day, because I'm not coming back until you tell me you're substantially complete?
That's an awesome point. Yes, we've had several people that, hey, don't reset my toilet, don't take down the plastic, I'm out of town for the next 3 weeks. And if that's the case, please leave us a note. And when we do our pre-construction meeting, if you can help us in any way to make the process smoother and easier for you and for us, that's awesome. Yes, sir.
On the I unit there, the red area, I just wanted to verify, that only has to be cleared out on the abatement day,
Yes.
so they can run ahead.
Right, so again, the hash marked area, just like the yellow zones, it doesn't have to be in that exact spot. Okay, so that's one of the things we can, when we do your individual. I've got to get a air scrubber and a hose to the outside to clean the air for the abatement day. So whether that thing snakes or whatever it does, we'll address that at the time. So I just need some kind of a pathway. You know, if you just move over your coffee table and part 2 chairs to get there, that's what we'll do. But that hash mark after day 2, there's no more hose there anymore, and you can set your furniture back in place.
Good. Thank you.
All right, yes?
How will you notify us about the appointment when you need to come in to do the walkthrough?
It's scheduled on the schedule that you,
Is there a time though?
we schedule, yes, between 10 and noon.
Oh, between
On-
10 and noon, it's just gonna be.
Yes, just a window of time that will start in, you know, a few units above you, and between 10 and noon, hit 8 or 10 or 12 people, and walk through the pre-construction meeting to address all the individual units you have within that 2-hour window on that one day.
Okay, this is just units not occupied either, all the time.
Okay, awesome. Yes.
So, somebody mentioned a start date of February 10th, but on here it says February 5th. Is it gonna start, pardon?
Is that the pre-construction walk date?
Well, somebody had mentioned 10th, so I wrote that down, but over here it shows the 5th and the 7th.
Yeah, these are the official ones. You know, they've been moving ahead of schedule, so that isn't a possibility. But
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
that's the official schedule.
so-
it is available on Sagewater's website.
Yeah.
Because we are out of copies, so I would definitely recommend going to Sagewater's website, printing out that, because the pre-construction walk is very, very important.
So yeah, like Jeff said, right now, regardless of what you may have heard, this is the official schedule that we're working on. That, again, could change, but as of right now, this is the official schedule. Yes, sir?
Michelle, you can correct me, but that schedule's also posted right by the high-rise elevator in the lobby, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Could you, I don't remember your name.
That's for the
Remember
entire-
41 at,
Oh,
could you see me after this? I want to talk to you about your.
For the 41HNI.
We need a doc.
Starting on, we have the pre-con 1, 2, 3, we start on 2, 5, we complete our.
Any other questions?
Yes, the kitchen gets done in summertime.
Tile picked out before the construction walk.
Are you an I?
I'm not an H.
You're an H? H will I have to pick out tile, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Right. The question here was about the kitchen of I, okay?
It's done.
Yes. So the I kitchens are being done right now. So the whole idea behind doing that was to not come in and have you out of your unit for 60 days in a row to do both the bath and the kitchen. We've diced it up and cut it up into small pieces. So I's kitchens will be done here very soon, by the end of this week or within the next couple of days. And then when we come back in to do your bathroom, the kitchen will be completely done. Okay?
Any other questions?
I had a question. During the construction, if you want to talk to somebody after entering our apartments at the end of the day, how do we get a hold of you guys, and can we get a hold of you
Yes,
guys?
on all the paperwork that's been sent out has our website, and on the website has all of our contact information, and on all the paperwork, it also has my number and my email address, and on the in-progress report that's on your door, there's information on there, so we can easily be reached, and all the information is available on all the paperwork that's been sent out.
We have some business cards up here ourselves too.
Do these sheets get updated? Like you don't put any kind of revision?
If we do, we'll blast it out to everybody and make sure that it's well aware, but we.
That would be helpful to put
Yeah, that's a great recommendation.
All right, so yes, schedules, again, early on in the process, we're working later and we're learning. When we get into F&G, you won't have that hitch with you guys, but schedules are subject to change. So please keep up to date on the website about any kind of schedule changes. So any other questions? Yes.
Just one more comment. I live in a J unit, and I want to say that you guys have already been through my unit. Sagewater has done an incredible job, as has Bergman. They come in, everything is done professionally. The painting, the drywalling, the texturing, and I'm not an easy person to please sometimes, and they've done an awesome job. So I think that it's not, an easy task for any of us to embrace, but we have professionals that do a great
great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I live in a C unit, so I've been through this the same comments. And we did have some problems, but let me tell you, like Sage Water and Bergman, they were on top of it. They were very easy to like communicate the issues with. They fixed it, moved on, and it was done. So it's overwhelming, it's intimidating, but it's not that bad. It's a lot worse in your head than you think.
The more you're involved, the better it is. for
Yes.
sure. Definitely. It's the people that show up in the bottom of the ninth, like Ken said, and said, well, what did you do? And they didn't go to an info session, no pre-walk, had no communication other than at the very end. So, and we, like I said, this turnout is great. Love to see this turnout. Best one so far out of all the styles.
And from the management side, I do want you to know that Mike will be part of this process through with you. So you do have another contact person that you can speak to.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You all.